What if a single bridge, not a wall, not a border shutdown, not a trade ban, suddenly became the newest battlefield in a growing North American power struggle? That's exactly what just happened. Late at night, with a few sentences typed into social media, Donald Trump reignited tensions with Canada by threatening to block the opening of one of the most important infrastructure projects on the continent, the Gordie Howe International Bridge. This bridge isn't just concrete and steel. It connects Windsor to Detroit, linking factories, supply chains, tourism, and millions of jobs on both sides of the border. And it's set to open soon, or at least it was. Trump's claim was explosive. Canada, he said, built the bridge using virtually no American materials, and therefore the United States deserved to be fully compensated. He went even further, suggesting the U.S. should own at least half of the bridge and control what passes across it. That wasn't just a complaint, it was a threat. Within hours, what should have been a routine infrastructure opening turned into a full-blown diplomatic standoff, one that raised a bigger question. Was this really about a bridge or something much larger? Enter Mark Carney. When reporters asked Carney about his phone call with Trump, they expected fireworks. Instead, they got something far more dangerous for Trump's argument: calm, detailed facts. Carney explained that Canada paid over $4 billion to build the bridge. Ownership, he said, is shared between Canada and the Michigan government. And the construction? It involved Canadian steel, Canadian workers, and American steel and American workers, too. Not exploitation, cooperation. This is a great example of partnership between our countries, Carney said, emphasizing the real reason the bridge matters: commerce, tourism, and everyday people crossing back and forth. That response didn't just push back. It quietly dismantled Trump's entire claim. But Trump didn't back down. Instead, his team doubled down, escalating the situation from a social media rant into an official White House position. The bridge, they said, was unacceptable because Canada would control what crosses it, and because more American-made materials weren't used, that raised eyebrows on both sides of the border. Because the truth, the documented, signed, agreed-upon truth, tells a very different story. Construction on the bridge began in 2018. It was fully financed by Canada under a 2012 agreement between Canada and Michigan. The plan was simple. Canada would take on the upfront cost, then recover it through tolls. Once those costs were recovered, Michigan would receive 50% of the net toll revenue. That detail conveniently missing from Trump's posts. As the threat escalated, one thing became clear. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was leverage. And bridges, as it turns out, make very powerful pressure points. Before we go further, here's the real question you should be asking yourself. Why now? Why this bridge? And who actually benefits if it never opens? Because the answers lead somewhere far more controversial than a disagreement over steel and concrete. And that's where part 2 begins. The facts Trump can't escape. Once the noise settled, facts started doing what facts do best, making things uncomfortable. As Trump's claims echoed across headlines, Canadian officials responded one by one, not with outrage, but with receipts. Doug Ford didn't mince words. 75% of the steel and concrete used in the bridge, Ford explained, was Canadian because Canada paid for it. The remaining 25%, American steel and American concrete. And on the U.S. side of the project, the interchange was built entirely by American workers using American materials. In other words, this was never a Canada-only project. It was a joint effort by design. Ford went further, calling Trump's claims fiction and reminding everyone that the facts are publicly available. Then he delivered the line that mattered most. The bridge will open, not as an act of defiance, but because it's in the best interest of the American economy. That's the part that stung. Michigan lawmakers, business leaders, and regional chambers of commerce quickly lined up against Trump's position. The Detroit Regional Chamber called the bridge the most consequential infrastructure project of this generation for the region. Why? Because the existing crossing, the Ambassador Bridge, is already overloaded. Delays cost businesses millions every day. Supply chains depend on this route. Auto manufacturing depends on it. Food, fuel, medicine, all of it passes through Windsor and Detroit. Blocking the new bridge wouldn't punish Canada. It would hurt America. And that's what makes this fight so strange. The Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority, which will operate the bridge, confirmed the financial structure. Canada recovers its costs first, then Michigan benefits directly. It's a long-term revenue stream for both sides. Trump's demand for compensation wasn't just unnecessary. It ignored the entire agreement. So why push it? One clue emerged quietly, buried in reporting from the New York Times. Just hours before Trump issued his threat, a billionaire named Matty Moran reportedly met with Howard Lutnick. Moran's family owns the Ambassador Bridge, the current crossing that the Gordie Howe Bridge is designed to compete with. For years, the family fought the new bridge in court. Why? Because competition ends monopolies, and monopolies make fortunes. Neither the Commerce Department nor the bridge company commented on the meeting. But the timing raised a dangerous question. Was this about national interest or private interest? Suddenly, Trump's sudden concern over ownership and control didn't seem so random, and the political context made things even messier. Trade talks between Canada and the U.S. have been frozen since late 2025. Trump was furious over an Ontario-sponsored ad quoting Ronald Reagan criticizing tariffs. Canada banned certain U.S. alcohol products in response to Trump's trade policies. Carney opened talks with China, something Trump warned would eat Canada alive. This bridge wasn't the cause of the conflict, it was the excuse. And as tensions piled up, one uncomfortable truth emerged. Trump wasn't fighting Canada alone. He was fighting facts, contracts, and even his own past statements. Because in 2017, Trump himself praised this exact bridge, calling it a vital economic link, and urging its fast completion alongside former Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Same bridge, same deal, different politics. And that contradiction leads us straight into where this stops being about infrastructure and starts being about power. Power, politics, and a manufactured crisis. The most revealing part of this entire saga isn't what Trump is demanding. It's when he's demanding it. The Gordie Howe International Bridge is essentially finished. It's connected to interstate systems. It's ready. Blocking it now wouldn't renegotiate a deal. It would create chaos. That's why experts are alarmed. Economists warn that even the threat of blocking the bridge introduces uncertainty into North American supply chains. Businesses don't plan around tantrums. They plan around reliability. And this threat sends the opposite message. Canadian officials understand that. That's why Carney's response has been so measured. He's not trying to win a shouting match. He's trying to protect stability. When Trump asked for help smoothing things over, Carney agreed to work with Pete Hoekstra, a Michigan native who understands how critical the bridge is to his home state. Behind the scenes, everyone knows the truth. Blocking the bridge would backfire, which raises the biggest question of all. If Trump knows this, why push anyway? The answer may lie in Trump's favorite tactic, creating pressure points. By threatening a symbol, a bridge, he forces Canada back to the negotiating table on unrelated issues, tariffs, trade reviews, China, alcohol bans, and the upcoming review of the USMCA. This isn't about steel. It's about leverage. Former Canadian MP Jeff Watson summed it up perfectly. Trump 1.0 supported the bridge. Trump 2.0 is using it as a weapon in a trade war he started. Michigan leaders see it. Business leaders see it. Canada sees it. The only wild card is whether Trump is willing to absorb economic damage to prove a point. For now, the bridge stands finished, silent, waiting. And every day it doesn't open costs money, costs patience, costs trust, which brings us to the final part and the real payoff, what this fight really means. At the end of all the threats, posts, and press briefings, one fact remains unchanged. The Gordie Howe International Bridge represents exactly what has defined the Canada-U.S. relationship for generations. Cooperation. It was paid for by Canada. It's jointly owned. It used workers and materials from both countries. It benefits both economies. Blocking it wouldn't rewrite history. It would rewrite trust. That's why Carney's message has been consistent. The facts are on Canada's side. The law is on Canada's side, and the bridge will open. The only question left is whether Trump chooses escalation or resolution, because this isn't just about a bridge. It's about whether modern trade is built on agreements or on threats. And here's the final takeaway for you. When politics turns infrastructure into a weapon, everyone loses. But when facts stay firm, bluffs eventually collapse. Now the real test begins. Will Trump walk this back or turn a finished bridge into the next flashpoint in a trade war that neither country can afford? Drop your thoughts in the comments and watch closely, because the moment this bridge opens, it may tell us everything about where North America is heading next.